Oh my god, it's been 10 minutes. Hi! Sorry, I was doing a little research beforehand here. I may have gotten slightly lost in it. My mistake, original gangsters. But hi, we're back. We are back, baby. Oh. Ew! Thank you, Becca! Thank you for the resub. 17 months, goddamn! Goddamn! What the hell? You don't have to. Thank you. Take care of yourself before me. You know the rules, and so do I. I was supposed to be here on the weekend, but I flipped my sleep schedule on its head for an appointment that I have this week. So, yeah. Hee hee. Forgive me, Kyori Patoris. Let me put up this for a minute here too, so it's not just silent. There we go. Got the music on. We comfy today. It is Lorehammer Tuesday, but also Mario Galaxy. Hehe. So we're gonna do the plan is to do the 2 lore videos that I owe you guys, and then flip the YouTube VOD over to do Mario Galaxy. So it is still Lorehammer. It is still learning the lore from 40k for the videos and stuff today. But I want to play Mario Galaxy. I've wanted to for like a week, and I haven't. So it'll be after lore time. We have like an hour, a little over an hour of lore to get through too. So we got some time. Okay, let me also catch up here. Hi Michael, hi Nana, hi Pega, hi Burb, hi Efer, hi Barnaby, welcome back. Hell yeah. And the streaks for Michael and Hostru, both of you. Hi Hostru. You were streaming earlier, did you finish up? You did go a really long time yesterday. So that would make sense. Oh yeah, okay, it's done now. Let's see. Okay. Let me catch up on the chat a second. Super Warhammer Galaxy? Yes. Correct. Everyone knows you give all your money to your favorite VTuber and then live off ramen noodles. No! Like I said, they know the rules. They should. Take care of yourselves, then you worry about me. Sub 3 months in advance. 6 months. Jeez, Pika, what the hell? Thank you. Grr. Abandoned us, Sesame. No! I didn't abandon you. It's fine. I flipped my sleep on its head. I had a lovely weekend though, playing with everybody, playing a game I really enjoy, so it was still fun. May not have been on stream, but I still had fun. Let's see. Didn't need accompaniment to play Space Marine this week. No, I'm gonna worry about that next week. Either Space Marine or Dark Tide, one of the two. I'm gonna do that next week, because this week is really full. I don't know if you saw the schedule this week, but it is very full. So it is 5 days of something or other this week. So I'm gonna worry about that next week. And I'm gonna do my really comfy game today. That'll be nice. Don't bout it as door playing freaking Mario game. Yeah, after. I'm gonna do it after the lore. Finished like 3 minutes before you started? Aw, shit. Damn. Well, make sure you do your after stream care stuff, Hostru. You better be eating something too. Did not get much sleep, so probably a good time for you to get some food and then maybe fall asleep in here. Yeah, there you go. That'll be good. It's a comfy game, so there shouldn't be too much screaming. We'll see. I say too much because I can never guarantee. Yeah. It's 15% cheaper per month like that. Is it really? If you just do it advanced like that. I haven't really looked at it before. I only look at gift subs and that's about it. Maybe one for myself, but a lot of times I win the sub roulettes, so I get lucky. I get lucky. So maybe we'll see. Fuck it. Freeze is really full. Nuh-uh. It could be. I have a salad over here and some frozen orange juice that was frozen, but not so much anymore. Now it's just a cup of orange juice. That's pretty cold. I don't know how I gave it to you. I wasn't even specifically referencing that, but I love it. Yeah, Michael had given like one community gift sub at random. Just to a random person, whoever was watching Lexi. Thanks, Lexi. He's a sweetheart. But I happened to win it while I was there. Michael was so baffled. Lexi and I were both like, oh, you gave it to them? Oh, sweet. But no, it was random and I just happened to get it. It was so silly. Hi, Demon. Welcome back. It's so silly. No, I didn't rig it. No, I didn't do that. Lies. Lies. Treason. Let me close my other tab. Before I do this. Okay. Yeah, I was just doing research. Looking into some things for some cool stuff I want to do. But you're not allowed to see it. That's what I was doing. That's why we're a little late. So, oh yeah, one other thing I did want to show you guys that I do have kind of sort of half ready in the sense of I have to fix it. So it technically works, but I have to fix it. I'll show you here. So tired at work. We want to go home. Soon, TM. Hang in there, Demon. You got this. You'll make it. This bug. Yeah, little pal. Yeah. Okay, so the head pats. Sorry, that wasn't a very clear word. The head pats. Technically, they work. But when I put them in here, I got all the blueprints set up, so all the... It's basically set up via, I believe it's called node coding. I think it's nodes, but yeah. Set up in this thing called blueprints here in Warudo. It is basically node coding for those that are familiar with it. You just connect a bunch of things together and they're in little boxes and you tell it what to do and what parts to activate when and stuff like that. So I set it all up. I set all of this up. I tested it out. And bam! They're pink. They are bright Unity pink. So if you're not familiar with Unity or with a lot of games in general, depending on the engine, of course, this pink color means it's missing its texture or something is wrong with it where it can't read it. So you can see that it works. The asset's there. It's all moving properly when it should. And I'm toggling it on and off, but it's normally on a timer and then turns off, right? But the texture's missing. So you can see here, like I have the slow pets and a speedy pet. I have two others, but I'm not going to use those because they're a little bit weird. So we're skipping those. But as you can see, they are pink. So I think I'm going to try to take the file itself into Unity and try to fix the texture myself, to fix the material myself, if it will let me. If it'll let me, I'll try and fix it. If not, I'm gonna have to find something else. But yeah, that's basically the situation on it, is it's broken. Like, they work, but they're pink. I did look all over the workshop as well, because these are by Gloria, who I think I've gotten one thing from her before, but it's also, if you know Labby, which, I mean, most of you do here, but I think 90% of you do here, it's the same person who made her fairy outfit. It's by that same person. So it's very surprising to me that this doesn't work, that the materials don't work, because they've got some interesting material work and all. But, yeah. So, it pink. I did look at the Steam community site as well, because it's technically a workshop item. And comments said the same thing in like 2 or 3 different spots of like, hey, this is pink, and it hasn't gotten a response. So, I don't know. I don't know what really to do about it besides try to fix it myself. So that's what I'm gonna try to do. I bet it works. I don't see it. I'm getting impatient. No, please. It's not set up because it's pink. So I need to try to actually dig through Unity to try and make it work. It does like look really nice when it's supposed to work, so I'm gonna try to have it in its original fashion, and if it just won't do it, fuck it, maybe, because the animation's really nice, it looks good, but or I can just make one myself. I don't know. I'm gonna try, is the point. This is not like pink and black squares Source Engine does. Is that what it is? I don't know which engine does that. That's the missing texture I always knew until I started working in Unity. And then it's, oh, bright pink. Oh, something wrong, you know. It's not, it's like, it's missing the black squares on it. Face Lion Fairy. Yeah, Lavi. We have no memory, the great almighty lion. Yeah, she'll probably be on soon too. I'm pretty sure. No, she's a sweetie. How dare you, Maiko? Bonk. She's a sweetie. Humph. But yeah, so that's what they look like. Yeah, they are pink. So I'm gonna try to fix it myself. Okay, let me minimize this now so I can get this out of my way. She called me a tsundere! She probably saw you talking about it. Or, even like in my server, she probably saw something, but it's funny. Hearing this actually reminds me I need to fix my redeems too, that chibi trigger, yeah. I have the head pets I've been trying to work with. I finally got it all set up and to make it work and move the item and mess with the colliders and everything. And then it's pink. So it's like, fuck. God damn it. All that work. But yeah, that's the situation on it. I'm gonna try. And if it doesn't work, then pink, I guess. You'll all be pink. Okay. So, let's see here. Ooh, what's this? Trying to pull up the video stuff for the lore videos. Ooh, the My Shop feature's back. Ooh, good to know. Thank you, Meta. Hell yeah. Love to see it. Okay. Being too smart for you, Nikashi, a nerd. No, we're gonna find out. I can't guarantee you that I can make it work, but I can guarantee you I'll try. If it works, great. If it doesn't, oops. I didn't make the asset, so... Hang on. Here it is. All that stuff's good. Yes. Cool. Ta-da! There's the video. It's at 0. Perfect. So, today we have 2 of them to go through, which is the 9 Traitor Legions of the Chaos Space Marines. And we have Death Guard, Nurgle's Chosen Sons. So we have both of them to go through today. And then it's Super Mario Galaxy. My experience with Unity is the more complicated it looks, the more simple the problem. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. It depends entirely with what you're working on. It depends entirely with what you're working on. If it's, like a lot of times when making stuff like this, when assembling stuff like this that you see here, it could either be a really complicated ass problem, or it can be something of like, oh, you forgot to take out a menu, haha. You know? Or, oh, this plugin won't work actually with what you need it to do because it's made for another process, so it's like, fuck. You gotta recreate the whole thing, and yeah. It could be a lot of things. Heretics. Maybe. What you need's a lightsaber. Lightsaber? I don't know. I'm in the stars, but it doesn't mean I belong to Star Wars. Besides, I'm a fairy. I don't need your lightsabers and your fancy tools. I do it myself. Burn them in the name of the Emperor. Hell yeah. That's my favorite heretic. Am I a heretic? I don't think so. I don't know. That reminds me too. I want to work. I think as soon as the next payout hits. I think like next week, maybe ish. I can start working on the Warhammer outfit. And I have a plan. I have 2 separate plans. So in case one of them doesn't work, I have a backup to try and make a Warhammer outfit. We're gonna try. I have a plan and I have a backup plan. That is like way more complicated, so it should really not be a backup, but you know. I have 2 options, so we're gonna try. One of them is Goth Eldar. I swear to God, I'm gonna yell at you. No, I'm not revealing the exact type of thing I'm going for with the outfit until I know for sure that it'll work. Basically, I'm not making promises until I know it's gonna work. Which, that does remind me, I need to go back to the drawing board with the goth fit because I was not happy with the hair nor the makeup, and I need to fix that. So, which I do have a plan for the hair now. I have a plan for the hair, but makeup I need to fix because I don't like it. I don't like it in its current state, and I want to make sure I really like it before I call it done and put it out here, you know. Space Marine body with loss. Oh, that would be very funny, but I did actually look if there was any Warhammer related stuff on Booth, and there is only 2D assets. There is nothing 3D on Booth for Warhammer. So yeah. There's nothing there. I would love to have some kind of purity seals, but everything on there is 2D. I don't have access to... I don't know how to make it myself either. I'm no Blender expert. I only use it for one part of my process and then I close it. I can't reshape things either, like... I try. Labby can do much more than me. And even then, I don't think she's made an entire thing like from scratch, just like an object like that, but I would have to ask her. Either way, I don't have access to that. So as much as I'd like it, maybe one day, type of thing. She just sassed me. Nonsense, nonsense. Nerd Densu may be a bucket nerd, but she can't be a heretic. That's also crazy. Wild accusations. I saw that, I was sad about it. Yeah, so lame. It's just 2D stuff. But yeah, we have like an hour to get through, so let's do... Oh, I need to pause this. There we go. Oh, that's my chill hop. Hello, everybody can see my chill hop. Okay, yeah. We'll let Arbiter Ian take it away for, get your snacks, get your sippies for 9 traitor legions of the Chaos Space Marines. A go.
Hi gang, the Chaos Space Marines
Also
in
look for
Warhammer
subtitle.
40K are one of the most persistent
They are
threats
auto
to
subtitles.
the
I'm
Imperium.
sorry.
War bands of heretic Astartes with ancient war gear preying on the worlds of man. But the most ancient and terrifying of all of them are the 9 traitor legions. The original
Went
legions
back on
who
that so
sided
fast.
with Horus during the heresy.
That's crazy.
Each of which still harry the Imperium in their own way. So in this video, let's run through all 9 of them so that you can choose how best to serve the Dark Gods.
Yippee! The Dark Gods.
In the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, a rather worrying number of Space Marines are no longer on the side of the Imperium. Chaos Space Marines, heretic Astartes, are the shock troops of chaos, hardened veterans of the Long War who combine millennia of experience with advanced war gear and the dubious powers of the Chaos Gods. By the 41st millennium, many of the Space Marines who have turned to the service of Chaos are what is generally termed renegades. Squads, individuals, or whole Space Marine chapters who've either been lured to the side of Chaos by the powers of the war, or were cut adrift by the Imperium for some perceived slight, taking to the life of the Pirate and the Reaver to keep their chapter alive. A course of action that worryingly often tends to end up in the service of chaos. But the most terrifying of all the heretic Astartes are those
Crimson
of the 9
Slaughter or the
traitor
Alpha Legion.
legions. The legions
I mean,
who
we
sided
might
with
get to
Horus
see 'em
and
today.
turned against the Imperium
We'll see.
during the Horus heresy 10,000 years before. And if you're thinking of throwing in your lot with the powers of chaos and joining the Long War yourself, you might be wondering which one to go for. So in this video, I'm going to do a quick rundown of all 9 legions, how they operate, and kind of what they're up to right now. The traitor legions, the greatest armies of chaos, were all once loyal legions who fought during the Great Crusade as part of the Emperor's armies of conquest, led by their Primarchs, and uniting the galaxy under the rule of the Imperium until that is the Horus heresy. The official reason for the rebellion of Horus was chaos corruption. The powers of the warp corrupted Horus, and since he was one of the most well-loved and trusted of the Primarchs and had been appointed War Master by the Emperor, he was able to corrupt 8 more Primarchs and their legions to his cause. All these warp-tainted warriors turned against the Imperium by the dark forces of chaos. And to a degree that is true. There are definitely some Primarchs who were literally corrupted by the powers of the warp, but it's also a bit of an oversimplification. By the end of the 2-century-long Great Crusade, there were many other resentments bubbling under the surface. Some Primarchs disagreed with the Emperor's plans, or never got the time to be fully brought into the fold. Some of the legions saw themselves as slighted and sidelined, always given the thankless jobs, and others wondered if there was even a place for them in this new empire.
Holy jump scare, Batman. Jesus.
And their Primarchs either decided
Thank you, Bob. Holy. Thank you, Bob. I appreciate ya. So for 12 months. Whoa, he's got the year badge. Wait, does he have it? Yeah. He's got the 1-year badge. Hell yeah. Wow, 1 full year. Thank you, Bob. Welcome back. Hi, how are you doing? Yeah, I was about to do the point too. He's got the badge. Whoa. Point. That's crazy. Yeah, a full year. Oh my god, does that mean it's our 1 year anniversary of meeting? Oh my god. You couldn't see the image I had there, but I put my hands on my cheeks and everything. It was like, oh my god. Trying to graduate college. Yeah, I get you. Oh, is it finals right now? Is it finals time? How have you dealt with this right here? No, he's a good man. You hush. He's fully grown. He's now a Venusaur. Can you imagine? As soon as he graduates, he's a Venusaur now. He's full rebrand. That'd be crazy. Yeah, it is. Ugh. Oh, meant me. Oh, okay. I see. Nah. Nah. Final season. Oh god. Good luck, Bob. You got this. Big study time. You can do it. Thank you. I appreciate you. Being here a whole year. That's crazy. Bob is cool. You're a nerd. The distinction. Trying to graduate as best I got. It's okay. Sometimes it be like that. It just do be. Nah. Yeah, the meh. Been like this all semester. I'm a bug on a windshield here. That's so good. What the hell? I'm a bug on a windshield. That's crazy. You got this. You can do it. I believe. Making me feel old. Old man Michael. Have I? Huh. First time I've heard of an old tsundere. You learn something new every day. You get a new combo every day. I'm not that old. I'm not 30 yet. But yeah, video. I need to turn down the audio alert too.
Against the Emperor, or were more open
I think
to
it
the suggestions
reset
of
its
Horus.
audio value,
But by the
and
end
that's
of
kind
the
of
heresy,
annoying.
with the defeat of Horus by the Emperor, the traitor forces were in bad shape. Some had, for one reason or another, fully fallen under the spell of the Chaos powers, corrupted
That's like
beyond
the
recognition in the service of
mainstream
their patron. Others
thing
had barely
of
changed, still fighting as the legion they once were.
people
But
calling
after
people
the
old.
heresy, the surviving
I think like
traitor
30
forces were
or
scoured
even
from the
then, I think
galaxy
it's like
and pushed back
20s, like
into the
mid
warp
20s. People
space
are
of the
calling
Eye of
Unk, and I think
Terror.
that's fucked
And
up.
in there, fighting for resources
I think that's
and
fucked up.
struggling to survive, many of the less devout
First hearing of an
legions
old
started to
Sigler, yeah,
slowly
it's
show
been nursing
signs of
home.
corruption themselves
Yeah.
as they endured millennia so close
Yeah,
to
I'm
the
not even paying attention. I mean, yeah, I've had to do like choir stuff for going to nursing homes, but that was kind of the extent of it. That's about it. I mean, I'm saying in media though, but even then, I guess you're kind of right. Like super old granny characters sometimes can be like that. The grandpas. I guess so, huh? Huh. I guess so. May have been born last century, but I promise I'm not old. That's the video may or may not been paying attention. Seeing a lot of the traitor forces. Yes, 9 traitor legions. You can see it here, but I know that the chat's also blocking it. 9 traitor legions of the Chaos Space Marines, and then after this one, it'll be Nurgle's chosen sons. That'll be after. Tsunade in Naruto is a student. That would make sense with the name. Popped in now, lurking. Sounds good, Bob. Take it easy, man. Whenever you can, get your breaks in. 38's like middle age, so is it specifically 38? I don't know. Even then, that's like the farther end of 30. But I don't know. Is she though? Yeah, I don't know. I never watched Naruto. Oh, I can read. I forgot. Excellent meta. 10 out of 10. Tsundere is named after her. Is it really? That'd be crazy. That would be insane. Just middle of average lifespan. Okay, I see. Not even 40s. Damn. Just right below. Damn. I can read. I forgot. It's so good.
The warping powers of chaos.
Wild.
The traitor legions of the 41st millennium are much more difficult to organize en masse, but they often retain some of their former strength. Many of their legionnaires still remember fighting during the heresy, because time in the warp flows really strangely, but all 9 have continued recruiting, stealing captives and the gene seed they need to survive. Over the years, internecine conflicts have often seen them break down into smaller and smaller warbands, led by their own ruthless champions. The Great Legion organization evolved, unable to endure millennia of betrayal and mistrust. But occasionally, the traitor legions will be united
that's a really
under
nice
some
art piece.
great leader, or when one of their now demon primarchs decides to launch an invasion of real space, and the Imperium will once again be ravaged by war fleets of Astartes not seen for 10,000 years. Each of these 9 legions had different ways of prosecuting their wars back in the days of the Great Crusade, and after 10,000 years of chaos influence, that's still true, though some are more recognizable than others. The World Eaters are a legion of berserkers, raging butchers dedicated to the chaos power Khorne, the incarnation of rage and bloodlust. Originally the assault troops of the Great Crusade, their primarch Angron was one of the first to side with Horus in the heresy. Angron,
the teethers in the stomach,
was a broken primarch. He'd been brutally implanted with a device, the Butcher's Nails, that heightened aggression at the expense of draining the pleasure from everything else, until the victim could only find peace in combat. He had no interest in being a general, saw the Emperor as just another tyrant, and his legion followed him along the same path, adopting crude copies of the Butcher's Nails until the World Eaters were a legion of crazed berserkers, seeking nothing but to reap skulls and spill blood in the name of their patron. Their primarch was one of the first
blood
to be
for the
raised
blood
to
god,
demon.
skull for the skull
After the
throne.
heresy, the remnants of the legion attempted briefly to stay together.
I know that
when
one.
even their nominal leader, Khan, turned on his own warriors on the planet of Scalathrax, becoming Khan the Betrayer, the legion broke apart into a huge number of just rampaging warbands. By the 41st millennium, the World Eaters barely exist as a legion force. Their former members now split down into countless murderous forces of Reavers, some composed of just a handful of Astartes, and some many hundreds strong. Within these warbands, any refined tactical organization has long since gone. The warriors fighting as assault
Have an
troops
easy
armed
rest
with
of your day at work.
swords and chain axes, seeking to harvest blood and skulls for the throne of their master. Warbands might rampage across sectors on their own, supported by vicious cultists called jackals, or be lured into the service of a greater chaos army by the promise of more slaughter, or drawn by the powers of the warp into greater armies of berserkers arrayed behind their demon primarch. But Khorne cares not from whence the blood flows, and the warbands of the World Eaters can be just as much of a liability as an ally. The World Eaters' colours were once blue and white, but the berserkers now go into combat clad in the colours of Khorne, blood red and brass. In fact, that red colour might not even be paint, just millennia of blood stains and gore. Their symbol is the
That's kind of cool.
Maw consuming a planet.
It's the big bite. That's why he had the teethers on his the armor piece in the front. I like that symbol a lot. It's nice. Ah. Big teeth. Sun is aloof or cold, and Dere is affectionate. The Dere thing originally was used to describe girls in the 4 biggest manga/anime, with tsundere having Sakura and Tsunade as the original tsunderes. That's funny. Of the time. Yeah, okay. I see. Huh. I never watched it, so the only one I saw from around that the big one from around the time was Fairy Tail. That's about it.
Of course.
That's the one I saw.
In the current timeline, the Legion
The
were
rest I did
instrumental
not.
during the fall of Cadia and the spread of the Great Rift, and their demon primarch Angron has been abroad in the galaxy much more often, particularly during the Arcs of Omen campaign, where he fought his returned brother Lionel Johnson on the planet of Wormwood. The Death Guard are a walking disease, a legion of traitor Astartes dedicated to the chaos power Nurgle, the god of plague and pestilence. Their armor rotted and corroded, their bodies distended and swollen and dripping with fluids, spreading the diseases of the plague god across the galaxy. Originally, they were the 14th Legion of the Great Crusade, a legion renowned for their solid, dependable nature. Their primarch, Mortarion, the Death Lord, who, judging by this picture, who could have suspected he would be a traitor? Anyway, was raised on the poison world of Barbarous and bred into his warriors a veneration for endurance and solid, reliable tactics. The Death Guard was slow and
That's pretty good.
practical,
I'll give you
able
that.
to endure the toughest of war zones, adept in trench warfare, or advancing upon the enemy in a measured, unstoppable line. They had little time for honor or ethics.
Metal, what does that mean? Taco Bell and Arby's Patreons? What? What does this mean? Is it the armor? Did I miss something in the armor design? Oops, not that far.
Diseases of the plague god across the galaxy. Originally, they were the 14th Legion of the Great Crusade.
I see. They're like they got the green shoulders. YouTubers think he means because they cause gas? Oh. I've heard Taco Bell, but Arby's? I think the Arby's is what's throwing me off. Nurgle is literally the god of shits and giggles. I love that. Patron, forgot the word. It's okay. I figured out that part, but it was the Arby's that's throwing me off. I could, if it was just Taco Bell, I could figure it out, but Arby's? That's what's throwing me here, but it's okay.
A legion
we got there.
Dependable nature. Their primarch, Mortarion, the Death
God
Lord,
of shits and giggles.
Judging by this picture, who could have suspected he would be a traitor? Anyway, was raised on the poison world of Barbarous and bred into his warriors a veneration for endurance and solid, reliable tactics. The Death Guard were slow and practical, able to endure the toughest
Arby's,
of war
every
zones,
meat sandwich is a
warfare, or advancing upon the enemy in a measured, unstoppable line.
Sorry, I can't even listen to it while giggling. No, I have not. I'm not. I never go to Arby's, but that's really funny. Oh dear God.
They had little time for honor or ethics, making use of the most horrific of toxic weapons and disdaining the cosmetics of some of the other legions. Their armor was often
with a smile and a giggle.
Only repaired or cleaned when not doing so would impede its function. And they were also great allies of Horus. Again, Mortarion somewhat resented the Emperor and his place amongst his brother Primarchs, and they were one of the original legions to join Horus in the heresy. The Death Guard fought at the forefront of the war, but in the final journey to Terra, they were afflicted in the warp by strange diseases that even their endurance couldn't overcome, and desperate, they pledged service to Nurgle. What emerged on Terra, and has plagued the Imperium since, bore little
Grandpa
resemblance
Nurgle
to the
cares about
Astartes
his
they once
followers,
were.
though.
The
He's
Death Guard are
arguably the
suffused with
nicest
the
chaos
diseases of
god.
the Plague
That's so
God.
sweet.
Their
What the
bodies
fuck?
ravaged and rebuilt, hosts for the most virulent
He's just a silly
afflictions
little
imaginable.
guy with
But for the Death Guard themselves,
I kind of love that, actually. He's just the silly little guy that's a monstrosity and also has a little jester hat upon his head with the little bells that jingle. That's what it makes me think of. Arby's every meat sandwich on Gogole. I know it's Google, but still. What am I gonna find? What am I gonna have to... I'm gonna have to do this. What am I gonna find? Every meat sandwich? That sounds terrible. That sounds cursed. Oh dear god. Yeah, I see what you mean now. Ugh. Even the fried one? What the hell? Oy. Yeah, okay. I can see how that would turn you into a gas machine. Jesus. God. Anyway, yeah, let me close that tab now. Ay ay ay. The next comment, write down, Nurgle loves you so much he gives you space aids. I thought that was Malzahar's job.
Swollen,
anyway.
mutated bodies only make
Nurgle's
them
concoction,
the pain
definitely.
Curiously dulled by the love of grandfather
People go there
Nurgle.
just for that with
warriors
no
able
drink.
to shrug off
That's...
injuries that would kill a lesser man.
I think that
slowly
can be classified
shambling
as
forward into
an
the
illness.
ineffective fire of their enemies. The Death Guard, like many of the traitor
No
legions,
drink.
are now broken down into a number of independent warbands, but some shred
Death
of
Guard
their
are just
former
little
structure remains,
fellas.
and they retain the ability to coordinate.
That's the next
sometimes
video,
en
too.
masse. Their Primarch,
I'm so ready
Mortarion,
for that.
took up residence on the plague
I've been
planet
wanting
in
to
the Eye
know
of
about
Terror,
Nurgle
but
stuff.
often ventures out into the wider galaxy. The Death Guard once wore unpainted ceramite with green trim, their symbol a circled skull, but their armor is now a corroded mess of black, green, and bone, corrupted with molds and rust, and frequently marked with a variant of the symbol of Nurgle. At present, the Death Guard are somewhat reeling. They
Death
were a major
Guard
part of the
do
13th
be
Black
happy little
Crusade,
fellas
and
with
they fought
gut
in the
mouths and a
Plague
big
Wars
love
soon
of
after,
fruit
as Mortarion
jokes.
attempted to invade Ultramar and turn it to chaos. Planets were turned into infested mires, but Mortarion was eventually pushed back, his defeat sealed when the powers
you
of
just
chaos
kind of
turned
glossed
to follow
over
each
Mortarion's
other, as they're
lore.
wont to do.
I
But
see.
while Ultramar is now free of their taint,
Oh.
the plague fleets of the Death Guard...
Jesus. That's the that's their fleet? Holy. It's actually pretty cool, but what the fuck? Yeah, that's cool as hell.
Continue to
Approved.
ravage the
Stamp.
The Emperor's children are quite the opposite. A cult of hedonites.
Nurgle stuff
dedicated
looks
to
so gross,
excess
it's kinda
in all
cool.
of its
Yeah.
forms. Followers of the Chaos Power Slanesh. Originally descended from the noble
Slanesh.
families of Terra, their legion suffered a
Purple.
gene blight early
Purple
in
and
its
gold.
development that saw
That's a
them
good combo.
constantly striving to keep up with the rest of the legions. Something that eventually turned into an obsession with proving their own perfection. When their Primarch Fulgrim was corrupted by an alien demon blade shortly before the heresy, they became
so evil,
easy
even their
converts
machines
to
are
the
possessed
Sacred
by
Cause.
demons.
Their
Damn.
desire to prove themselves
That's
perverted
insane.
into an obsession with excess. The Legionnaires stopping at nothing to gratify their desires.
I like his little
Genetic
schnoz.
manipulation.
I wanted to
Legionnaires
show
stopping
you.
at
I like his little schnooter. He's like a bug.
nothing to gratify their desires. Genetic manipulation,
it.
chemical enhancement, mass slaughter, slavery, and torture. The Emperor's children place excess above all else. Any atrocity is worth it for the new sensations it brings. Their need for status and perfection breeds obsessions from the desire
Oh my! Oh my! What the fuck? Oh yes, the sex, drugs, and rock and roll Marines! Wait until we get to the noise Marines? Oh god. That sounds insane. Nurgle is funny, guardsmen. Nurgle is funny, guardsmen have to wear masks so the flies fly into their eyes and inside their mouths and noses. Blah. Buggies. Ewy. Sorry, I had an ESL moment there. No, it's okay. We got through it. We got there. We got there. We figured it out. I can read meta stuff by now. I can read most other things. Sorry, meta. Gotta clown on them every once in a while, you know? But yeah, this is some freaky deaky shit. Jeez. The mask with the the whip. Oh my. What the hell?
To a towering, insecure arrogance. The Emperor's children have never changed their name, seeing it as a cruel joke on the
children of the Emperor
Their
Marines
ranks
do
are
like
often
to
swelled by
torture
cohorts of
fucking
noise marines,
drug people
a
all at
dedicated
once.
cult of heretic Astartes whose senses are so dulled by abuse
insane.
that only the most riotous, insane, and
Keep
visceral
it
stimulations will affect them. They walk into battle wielding sonic weapons.
Also, that's a really fucking cool. Is this a sound, guys, that he was just talking about? That you were just talking about, Zadies? Because that looks really fucking cool, but also, oh, Jesus. Yes, okay, that is really sick, but also, damn. Sorry, I'm still laughing at meta. Keeping me humble. Got him. He also took all the skin off his face to feel more pain. That sounds about right. That sounds typical.
By abuse,
let me listen to this again.
Riotous, insane, and visceral stimulation still affects them. They walk into battle
hi!
sonic weapons.
Let me get past the image so I can pause and you guys don't have to stare at this.
Tone, the discordant
we'll get there in a second. We got this. Come on. There we go. Hi everybody, welcome Raiders. We're learning about this is Lorehammer Tuesdays. That's what we do here. We're watching some lore videos by our guy Arbiter Ian here about Warhammer 40k lore. Today we have 9 Traitor Legions of the Chaos Space Marines, and then the Death Guard, Nurgle's Chosen Sons. Hello. Hi, welcome. Let me shout you out properly. Thank you, Tactical Tortoise. TV. I almost said VT because I'm used to reading VT, like VTuber. Hi, welcome. You guys may be stuck in ads, but I hope not. I hope you guys are not stuck in ads. But the pre-roll should be off. I don't know. Pre-roll should be off, but it should be fine. Hi! welcome. If you haven't seen me before, hi, I'm Lalafeo Hortensia. Nice to meet you. I'm a fairy VTuber. I promise the wings are supposed to be there, but I'm working on a fix for them, so. Raid also disables ads for Raiders for a bit. Oh, really? Okay. Then it should be fine, but either way. Yeah, I'm a fairy VTuber. I promise the wings are supposed to be there, but I'm working on a fix for them. I customize all my model stuff, so from like base parts I assemble everything and customize it so it looks a lot more like me. Hey. I'm a variety streamer. I play all different types of games, but my favorites are 3D platformers and survival crafts. But we do have Lorehammer Tuesdays is what I call it now, because we do lore video and then usually play a game right after of something in the Warhammer series. But that's usually the plan. But today it's gonna be Mario Galaxy after, because I really feel like Mario Galaxy. And I didn't get to last week, so I really want to today. Yeah. Hopefully you're doing all good. Don't forget to do all your aftercare stuff for streams, and all the things, food, drink, sleep, whatever you need. But I appreciate you coming in with the raid. Thank you so much. Today it's 3D Platformer Tuesday because the fairy wills it. I mean, kinda. But not really. I owe you guys the two lore videos today, so I wanted to make sure you got them for sure. But yeah. So I'll continue our little lore video. Hopefully you're all good. Thank you for the raid. I appreciate it.
Emperor's children were once clad in purple and gold, their symbol the clawed wing, or
I'm
bearing
excited
the
to see more about
palatine
Nurgle,
aquila
though.
of the Emperor.
He sounds
But now
very
their
silly.
armor is frequently a riot of clashing colours and
creepy little
ornate
guy.
decoration, though pinks and purples are still preferred, and they might
Pinks
still
and
wear the aquila
purples.
to mock
Yay.
the followers of the false emperor, though often that's replaced with symbols dedicated to Slaanesh. The Emperor's children have been relatively quiet
her will
compared
on
to some of the
principle
other
because she's
legions
the
of
biggest
late,
baka.
though
Damn, that's
warbands and
crazy.
armies under
I can't
Eidolon,
believe
their
this.
former Lord Commander,
Oh, he's cool.
and Lucius
Oh,
the
he's got
Eternal,
the faces in there. Wait, that's cool as shit. I love in media when they make something, some like object out of these like stretched, horrible, like humanoid faces or like ghoulish. It's so cool. I love that concept. The only silly here is this ferret. Hell yeah. Yeah. The suit is made out of skinned people. Yeah, it's so neat. And like this is like almost muscly like with the thing here. It's so neat.
Continue to play
I
the
love
Imperium,
that concept
but
a
there are
lot.
rumors of the Primarch Fulgrim preparing to return to the galaxy.
Purple
All
and gold
three
again.
of those legions were amongst the first
It's a good
converts to
combo.
the side of Horus.
Looks
But the
nice.
story of the Thousand Sons is a bit more tragic.
Lucian the Eternal is that
of
dude's name. I
sorcerers,
think face
their
of the
ranks
people who
composed of
beats
silent
and gets
automatons,
added.
the
What?
vast majority of their legion reduced to a handful of
Hang on. Lucian the Eternal is that dude's name, I think. Face of the people who beats him gets added. Well, I think it's the opposite of people who he defeats gets added to his armor, right? Because that's cool as hell. That's really neat. Lucian the Eternal. How neat. The fairy craves violence. I crave violence. What was that? What was it again? Mother, I crave violence. Or something like that. I don't know. It's been so long since I heard it. Lucian the Eternal is cursed to never lose. So when he loses, he takes over their body and their face gets added to the suit. Oh, that's cool. Meta wasn't backwards. Hey. It just didn't make any sense, so I tried to make it make sense. If you get that. Hell yeah. Okay. That's really neat.
of dust inside a sealed suit of armor, and their fall to the chaos-powered Tzeentch is a tale of betrayal and deception, just as Tzeentch planned. The Thousand Sons were always a psychic legion, their Primarch, Magnus the Red, a sorcerer of great power, who believed that humanity should embrace its psychic gifts, though eventually
only
that
when
was
they feel
restricted
pride
by the
it does
Emperor.
that. Ooh.
When Magnus found out about the Horus heresy
Interesting.
and attempted to use a great spell to warn the Emperor, he unknowingly destroyed the Emperor's laboratory and
I like
risked
the
letting
guys
a
with
horde of demons
the
overwhelm
Tiefers
Terra,
on
and the
here.
message was lost. And in retaliation, the Space Wolves were sent to destroy the Legion
Tiefers.
and its homeworld. Reluctantly, after most of the Legion
Yeah,
had been wiped out,
Tiefers.
the surviving Thousand Sons embraced
chomp.
the chaos-powered Tzeentch and sided with the Warmaster. After the heresy, the Thousand Sons were decimated, hounded into the Eye of Terror like the rest of the traitors, their members suffering from all sorts of mutation, often brought about by their continued use of psychic powers. In an attempt to put a stop to this,
The
their
Thousand
greatest sorcerer,
Sons.
Ahriman,
Magnus did
attempted
nothing
a
wrong, he just
rubric
screwed up
that
his
would spare
attempt.
the Legion
Damn.
from mutation, but it went wrong.
Oh,
The
a
rubric
creature.
of
Wait,
Ahriman
I was looking at the
spared
creature.
Legion from
I was looking at the little guy with the I was looking at the guy. What is he? What is the he? What is the him? Weird. They did nothing wrong, aka
mutation.
they did
but it
nothing
went wrong.
very
The
wrong.
rubric of Ahriman
Huh.
greatly augmented
Oh,
the
there
most
is the
powerful of the
That's
sorcerers
sick as hell.
present, but the rest of the Legion
They were supposed to do nothing,
reduced.
and
Their
they
armor
did that
sealed,
wrong,
and
so
their
fucked
bodies returned to
everything.
dust. Now barely sentient
I see. That
automatons
makes a little bit
under
more
the
sense.
thrall of their sorceress masters. Since then,
Tzeentch
the
gang.
Thousand Sons
Oh,
have
is
plagued
that
the
what they're
Imperium
called?
as a raiding force of Chaos Marines seeking sorceress
Ugh,
artifacts,
excuse me.
hoping to discover a cure to the rubric or just to avenge themselves upon the Space Wolves for their destruction millennia ago. The original heraldry of the Thousand Sons was red and white with the Prosperine
Red and
sigil on
white.
their shoulder pads, but their legions now tend to be clad in the blue and gold of old Prospero and adorned with
I
the
see.
sigil of their patron,
Like a dark blue.
Tzeentch. The Thousand Sons have been relatively relatively busy in recent years. Magnus the Red, now a demon prince of Tzeentch, even translated his demon world, the planet of the sorcerers, back into real space near his old homeworld of
Magnus did
Prospero,
nothing wrong.
a chaos
It's a joke
threat
about
at the
him
heart of
failing
the
at doing
Imperium, taking in
nothing.
dangerous and rogue psychers,
I
and
see,
from which
okay,
his
that makes
undying
sense.
legions of rubric marines have launched
Crazy.
invasions of nearby systems, like the Space Force homeworld of Fenris on more than one occasion. Their forces constantly attempt access to the Eldar webway, notably harrying Robute Gilliman during his return to the Imperium.
All he had to
even
do
the
was
point of
wait.
manifesting and fighting on Luna
So
in
he
orbit
did
of Terra
nothing
itself
wrong.
in the
Okay,
solar
yeah.
system. So those are the four
It's
cult
silly.
legions, the ones that primarily found themselves dedicated to a specific chaos power, but other renegade Astartes have fallen to the worship of the four powers over time, and so there are now Khorne berserkers that were never part of the World Eaters, or Plague Marines that never followed Mortarion. However, the rest of the traitor legions trod a more careful path, either through the worship of chaos as an undivided force, or by avoiding the worship of it altogether, their rebellion forming on ideological grounds that had very little to do with devotion to the gods. The word bearers, though, are very much the former. The word bearers are zealots, believers in the divinity of the warp and willing servants of the chaos
I play
gods.
that class.
Their armies march forth in serried ranks behind a horde of crazed cultists, accompanied by legions of summoned demons, ready to convert the worlds of the Imperium to the worship of their masters. The word bearers were always like this. Their Primarch, Lorgar, was a man of faith, a true believer in the uniting power of religious worship, and eager to find a true focus for his beliefs.
Like, all that
For a
gear
long
is
time,
really neat.
he thought this was the Emperor and converted planets to the worship of the Emperor as a god. But when he was rebuked and humiliated by the Emperor for this, he secretly turned to older entities, and his legion were the first to start to worship the powers of chaos as their new gods. It was
Their
the
armor's really
Wordbearers
cool.
who largely engineered the Horus heresy, exposing Horus to the corrupting power of the warp, raising warp storms to contain the loyalist armies, and creating the first possessed marines, willingly giving over their bodies to possession by demons. Though their Primarch went into seclusion after the heresy, they remained one of the better organized legions.
Oh, there's
in
a
the
guy's
41st
face on
millennium.
there.
Their ruling council of dark apostles and chaplains sponsor heretical cults across the Imperium, weakening it from within, and their war fleets embark on crusades to burn and conquer Imperial worlds in the name of their dark gods. The Wordbearers worship chaos as an undivided force,
Is it like a book?
powers as
Like a cursed book?
building temples to them on conquered worlds, and because of that, they can call on hosts of demons to aid their armies of devoted initiates. Their armor is dark red, or sometimes in its old scheme of stone grey, and their symbol is the flaming demon's head, sometimes superimposed on their old legion symbol, the open book, though their armor often bears esoteric cosmological diagrams or holy text taken from the Book of Lorgar. In the wake of the Great Rift, the Wordbearers have been extremely active, led by their ancient chaplains, Cor Pharaon and Erebus, and sending war fleets out across the Imperium to capitalize on the chaos caused by the Rift and convert more planets to their dark
what's with the symbol?
By comparison, the Iron Warriors are of a rather more practical mindset. A bitter and resentful legion, the Iron Warriors march to war surrounded by armoured vehicles, preceded by the barrage of artillery fire and accompanied by great demon engines. To them, war was always a battle of attrition, fought through the cold logic of numbers and the armoured might of war engines. That was always their way, and in the Great Crusade, it saw their legion dispatched to the most thankless of war zones, to dig trenches and lay siege, or to feed their Astartes into the meat grinder. And over time, their Primarch, Perturabo, grew bitter and resentful of the Emperor. But when the legions sided with Horus, the Iron Warriors often
grumpy
found
boys
themselves just as sidelined, both proud of their reputation as mathematicians of war who could get anything done, but also resentful of being treated with disdain because of it. Perturabo was instrumental in bringing down the walls of the Emperor's palace, but feeling undermined,
okay, I see.
quit the siege early, taking up residence on the demon world of Medrengard after the heresy, a world covered by fortresses and mines where the tallest towers break the atmosphere, tethered to fleets of Chaos warships in low orbit. From here, Perturabo coordinates the actions of his legion, who have retained more of their pre-heresy organization than most. The Iron Warriors are split into great companies led by warsmiths, battlefield commanders and skilled engineers, and then further down into warbands led by prominent champions. Life is cheap to the Iron Warriors. Every warrior is grist for the mill, and so only the strongest and the most skillful can claw their way up the Legion hierarchy, and Perturabo himself does not take failure at the top very well. Over the millennia, the Iron Warriors have come to honour the Pantheon of Chaos as a useful tool, but they're not particularly devout. But one form of Chaos worship they do excel at is the binding of demons into war machines. The Warsmiths of the Iron Warriors rival the Dark Mechanicum for knowledge of demon engines, and their armies are often accompanied by hordes of warp-enhanced constructions and possessed vehicles. The Iron Warriors' symbol and colours are unchanged since their
they've got the yellow
armour of
stripes.
bare gunmetal and adorned with practical
Yellow
markings,
came from
often
here.
yellow and black chevrons, and studded with the iron skull of the
That'd
Legion.
be cool.
In the wake of the Great Rift, Perturabo has sent numerous war fleets.
He's an asshole. The only people he hates more than the Emperor is the other traitor
to a number of heavily fortified Imperial worlds.
That is pretty good.
To form a power base in the Imperium. Vast supply chains of troops, artillery, and vehicles flowing out from Medrengard across.
Sorry, the little skull icon here just made me laugh because it's like this is like really long teeth and then the bottom of the jaw. So he's going he's like constantly clenched. This really, really long teeth.
The Imperium. The Night Lords
silly.
A legion of sadistic murderers and psychopaths, masters in the art of sowing fear and terror in order to achieve their aims. Their assaults are presaged by blackouts and failures of communication, brutal atrocities designed to force a population to capitulate, and haunted shapes lurking in the darkness before hordes of raptors descend from above to slaughter the inhabitants. Originating from a world of perpetual night.
Oh, the Night Lords, yeah, okay. I hear a lot about these guys. Let's see what they're about.
Conrad Kurz, known as the Night Haunter, obsessed with retribution and justice. But even before the outbreak of the heresy, their excesses had gone too far. Fueled by their
kept him in a sensory deprivation tank for 100 years because he hates them. That's so petty. I love it.
And the Emperor was on the verge of censuring them. They were renegades in all but name, and easy converts to the side of Horus. But they were always unreliable allies, content to avenge themselves against their old enemies, the Dark Angels, inflicting their own terrors on unwary systems in their path for amusement and distraction. The Night Haunter himself disowned his legion as criminals and cowards, and after the heresy, they were quick to split up into separate warbands with no central control. The Night Lords of the 41st millennium are little better. Pirates and raiders, their tactics have always been based on terror, and though they hold no great regard for the Chaos Gods, that doesn't mean they haven't been changed by their long exposure to the warp. Surprise raids that occur under the cover of unnatural darkness. Aerial assaults led by twisted avian jump troops, possessed warp talons and raptors. The warbands and the Night Lords inflict terror for their own sick pleasure and for the power they stand to gain from it. Their warlords are a series of petty princelings and gang leaders who've never had any notion of martial honour, and their claw packs and raiding forces can be impossible to pin down. The Night Lords are ever content to use hit-and-run tactics and to win victory by 1,000 cuts rather than risk their own skins in open warfare. The Night Lords are midnight-clad in armour of darkest blue and black, frequently incorporating skull helms, bat wings, or flickering warp lightning to make themselves even more fearsome.
Their symbol so he skinned the kid alive, then dipped him in boiling oil, and he healed him enough to put him in a slow cooker, all because he stole a loaf of bread. That's insane.
Their Primarch is long dead, killed by an Imperial assassin, and their warbands continue to
the Night Lords guy. Okay.
Raiding forces still harry the Imperium for supplies, and the lack of Imperial authority on the far side of the Rift makes for easy pickings, but the Night Lords are continuing to, you know, would-be Night Lords. And if they're hard to catch, the Alpha Legion are even more difficult to pin down. Infiltrators and saboteurs. The Alpha Legion are akin to a Hydra, their assaults coming from multiple angles at once, misdirecting the defenders and leaving them confused and reeling, while cells of specialist operatives suddenly activate, springing into action, coordinating to achieve whatever mysterious aims they had. The Alpha Legion were the last legion to be founded, and were often eager to prove themselves, just as capable as the rest, but when the heresy occurred, the Alpha Legion's Primarchs, Alfarius and Amigon, trod a middle path, fighting the Imperium, eager to test their skills against their brother legions, but also seeking to steer the war towards their own mysterious goals. Since the end of the heresy, their missions, numbers, operations and whereabouts are shrouded in an impenetrable layer of mystery. The Legion split into cells and cells of cells. In fact, the habitual lies and deception the Legion
maybe it's just the way that they made the A.
In some cases become their undoing. One cell no longer aware of the actions of any others. In the 41st millennium, Alpha Legion cells are the bane of many Imperial sectors, hiding in the open void, operating from deep within the Imperium itself.
They're so undercover we don't know if they are traitors or loyalists. Oh wow.
And cultists to act on their behalf. Often whole worlds will be destabilized. Wars began by two sides who both think they're in the right, both fighting for the Emperor, but both secretly controlled by Alpha Legion operatives. The Legion
like the Tifers on the helmet.
Until the confusion allows them to achieve their goals. Appropriately, the symbol of the Alpha Legion is the Hydra, and their armor tends to be blue, but that could range from almost green to almost purple depending on the cell. They've even been known to pose as other legions in order to better infiltrate the Imperium. In the current timeline, they continue much as they always have done. Their Primarchs haven't been seen in an age, so much that many of their cells have no idea where they might be. But the Alpha Legion never needed central command anyway, and their schemes and plots continue to play out across both sides.
We don't know which is which, though.
We have the most recent traitor legion, the one formed from the ashes of the heresy itself. The
most recent
Legion was formed in the wake of the Legionary Wars in the Eye of Terror after the Horus Heresy. After the death of Horus, the 9 legions who turned against the Emperor were scoured from the galaxy by the avenging Imperial forces, many of whom were fresh to the fight and outnumbered them. With many of their Primarchs turned to demon princes, disappeared or killed, the legions were headless, many dissolving into competing warbands, pushed back into the Eye of Terror, and left to fight for resources within its boundary, or to exact vengeance on their former comrades for all sorts of slights. And the legion that were most often the target of this were the Sons of Horus. The 16th Legion, the Legion of Horus himself, was seen as the instigators of this failed rebellion.
God, sorry.
The reason that the rest of the traitors
no, it's alright.
And many warbands hunted them through the eye, seeking retribution for their
It was just a really hard word to say for a minute, so like,
the Sons of Horus were on the verge of being wiped out.
We got
as
it.
The directionless forces of chaos consumed
even if it was a typo.
In warp space. They needed direction, and it was the former first captain of the Sons of Horus, the second in command to Horus himself,
Dyslexic I get
who gave them purpose. Over hundreds of years, Abaddon brought together the survivors of the Heresy War. Many were ex-Sons of Horus legionnaires, but many weren't, and he formed them into a new legion, a Black Legion. Over time, they consolidated their power, Abaddon fighting many of the other Chaos factions until their leaders were dead and their warriors pledged to his service, creating pacts with the demonic inhabitants of the war, and then launching invasions and raids out of the Eye and into real space, known to the Imperium as the 13 Black Crusades, that, after thousands of years, culminated in the destruction of Cadia and the spread of the Great Rift across the galaxy. By the 41st millennium, the Black Legion are the largest and most well-organized of all the traitor legions, and their forces are engaged on a number of fronts across the galaxy.
The Emperor killed
their
Horus,
numbers
he killed him,
include
so
ancient
he eradicated his soul from the past, present, and future.
Since any who swear fealty to Abaddon can join. The Legion itself honors Chaos Undivided, though specific warbands might have their own legions.
That's personal at that point.
Numbers within it sorcerers leading silent hosts of rubric marines, or brutal warlords heading packs of Khorne berserkers, their armor all repainted black and gold in honor of their new allegiance. Abaddon himself has played the 4 gods of chaos off against each other for 10,000 years, taking some power from each without ever giving himself over to them, content to patiently play out his long war against the Imperium. And there we have them, the 9 traitor legions of chaos. As I said earlier, there are many more heretic Astartes who've fallen to chaos over the years and still operate on their own as bands of renegades or occasionally as allies to larger formations. But the 9 traitor legions are the heart of the Chaos Space Marine forces. Ancient warriors in ancient Ceramite wielding weapons that, in many cases, the Imperium have forgotten they once had. They've never truly been united again, not like they were during the heresy, and 10,000 years of fracture and of their surviving Primarchs either becoming demons or falling to their own obsessions hasn't helped that. But the War Master of Chaos knows how to play each of them, and if they can ever be united again, the Imperium might not be able to stand up to it. In this video, I touched a little bit on the history of all these legions, but if you look on the channel, I've got videos dedicated to each one of the legions of the Horus Heresy. So if you want to find out exactly what they did back then, go and have a look there. Anyway, may the dark gods smile on you. Thanks for watching.
That's funny. Well, here, speaking of that, we have the Death Guard. Nurgle's Chosen Sons. That's our next one. Which they sound very silly.
What that smell is? Well, don't worry.
He made the background green too. Oh, that's awesome. Hell yeah. So if the Chaos Forces in the Heresy didn't degrade into corruption and listen to Peter Abbo, they would have won. Yeah, I guess so, huh? Hi, Nock. Welcome back. Hey! You're lurking though. Okay. Exclamation point lurk. Hell yeah. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you. I'm gonna check on me.
It's just the Death Guard. The heralds of Nurgle.
We're watching Warhammer stuff.
Way across the battlefields of Warhammer 40k.
It's the icky sticky episode, I guess, because of Nurgle.
Surrounded by clouds of toxic gas and swarms of
Memorial Galaxy after.
Flies. So hail
in
to
like
Grandfather Nurgle,
40 minutes.
Be to the Plague God as we go through the lore of Nurgle's chosen sons.
Nurgle's chosen sons. It's Meta's episode. I hope he's here.
Did I mention
we he's not. I'm kidding. I know that. Oh, that's crazy.
The Death Guard are a terrifying and inexorable force within the Warhammer 40,000 universe. A legion of Chaos Space Marines who are defined by their devotion to the Chaos power Nurgle, the god of disease. They advance with trudging, tireless feet, their rusted gears of their armor grinding, embodying inevitability as everything around them succumbs
to the weird
decay.
Tongue thing.
Their corruption has twisted their bodies and war engines, and their every action is fueled by a deep-seated bitterness and a droll, dark sense of humour. Encountering the Death Guard is a horrific experience, more horrific than a normal battle, marked first by the smell of open plague pits, and then a pervasive fever sweat, a supernatural sickness.
That's gonna play the Pocky game with me so I can pretend not to know it.
Swarms with
I can't pretend not to know. You can play the Pocky game together? Damn.
The organic rumble of
Proof it didn't happen.
And the whistle of plummeting ordnance accompanied by slow, remorseless march. As the chosen legion of Nurgle, the Death Guard are utterly dedicated to spreading his hideous gifts through real space. Their living plague
like you can hear the air quotes.
Bodies and rusted war machines possessing grotesque resilience and devastating firepower. The forces of the Death Guard are spread across the galaxy
proof when it happens. Thank you. I gotta see this.
Resilient strike forces to mass infantry hordes. But however the forces of Nurgle take to the battlefield, a Death Guard
they've got like stink incense.
The planets it encounters, ready to corrupt and poison the galaxy one world at a time. The 14th Legion, which would eventually become the Death Guard, was initially created by the Emperor of Mankind during the Unification Wars.
Oh, damn.
Before their fated reunion with their Primarch, they were known as the Dusk Raiders, a name derived from their tactical preference for launching major ground assaults just as day gave way to night, striking from the gloom with bolters blazing to annihilate their enemies. The Dusk Raiders were primarily drawn from the rugged gene stock of Old Albia,
a Terran empire known for its warlike clans that fiercely resisted reunification. But admiring this indomitable courage, the Emperor sought peace through negotiation, offering them glory amongst the stars as part of his Imperium, and the Albion clans eventually accepted. The 14th Legion quickly adopted the warfare methods that were familiar to their Ironside forebears, developing into experts in survival and endurance. They earned a reputation as relentless and disciplined fighters, unyielding in defense against the heaviest fire, and indefatigable in attack, systematically destroying targets through waves of armored bodies.
It's kind of like a grayish, purplish.
Close-range firefights and bloody attrition. Their initial power armor
the
was
Death Guard originally
grey,
French
but it
before they
later bore the
found
symbols of the Ironsides of
Mortarion.
Albion with their right vambraces,
yeah, seems
gauntlets,
that
and
way.
shoulder plates painted a deep crimson,
Oh, no.
symbolizing the Emperor's justice. A tradition that became common to
The
a few
French.
legions in
Oh,
one way
God.
or another. They were known to honor all opponents, at least to human enemies, adhering to the terms of surrender, but they showed no mercy to mutants, degenerates, or aliens.
That's crazy.
For over 80 years, the 14th, as the Dusk Raiders, fought unwaveringly through the Crusade,
The
earning
Earth
a lot of
region they were
triumphs,
raised
fostering
from
a
was
sense
France,
of
basically.
self-reliance,
Okay,
and then
yeah.
pride from their orphan status as one of the last legions to find its Primarch. But when it happened, the reunion of the 14th Legion with their Primarch, Mortarion, was far from a joyous occasion. The events cast a shadow over the Legion.
Got
for the
exhaust
rest of
pipes in the
Crusade.
back there.
Scattered by the forces of chaos, Mortarion's pod had landed on the planet of Barbarous, a tormented, gloomy, and mountainous planet cursed with a poisonous atmosphere. The human population huddled in crude villages in the forested valleys. but the
Icky, sicky
higher
planet.
altitudes, covered in toxic fog, were the domain of foul Xenos warlords, malevolent giants 3 times the height of a man, bedecked in rusted armor, whose armies consisted of stolen human stock transformed into cadaverous marionettes and mutant flesh
what the
hulks.
hell?
Mortarion's misfortune led to his seizure by the greatest of these warlords, Nasser, who claimed him as his adoptive son. The child Primarch was raised in a forbidden keep, high in the mountains, at the very limit of his body's endurance to the planet's toxicity. Here, Mortarion was trained as a living weapon, learning to fight, command, and kill. He devoured knowledge from battle doctrine to arcane machine lore, proving an apt pupil, and soon he was joining his master in battle and on his
He lived
reapings
on
of the
a
humans.
planet of
But
necromancers,
as
basically.
Mortarion
Yeah, it's kind of
matured,
neat.
His burgeoning intellect led him to
thank you.
question his adopted father about these fragile
My window is
creatures
cracked,
that
so
lived
I
in the
guess
valley.
it's just making
When
me
his master
sneeze.
denied him further access, it only fueled Mortarion's obsession. He eventually escaped into the darkness of the valleys, where he discovered the truth, that the valley dwellers were his own people, and his life up until that point had been a lie. Consumed by a cold rage, he vowed to bring justice and death to the overlords for the generations of terror they'd inflicted. Initially,
Like a
gaining
big
the trust of those humans was
Bubaka.
difficult due to his imposing appearance,
Nerd.
but Mortarion tirelessly aided them, building walls and working the fields for them. His big moment came when a lesser overlord attacked a settlement that he'd been shadowing. Wielding a great 2-handed harvest scythe, Mortarion tore
Yes,
through
cool.
the unliving hordes,
Scythes are
putting
neat
the
as hell.
overlord to flight. He even pursued the alien into the toxic fog, something the alien considered a safe haven, and beheaded it, marking the first time a charnel overlord had fallen to human hands. Mortarion became a taciturn prophet, promising freedom, justice, and revenge. He taught warcraft and industry, leading the rebellion against the overlords, and the reapings soon became true battles, often won by the hardy humans. However, the
Death
overlords would
Guard
just
use
retreat
power
into
size,
the
which
fogs
is
when they
sick.
felt
Yeah,
threatened,
it's so
which
neat.
denied him his complete
He's got
vengeance.
stink sense too.
Mortarion
I saw it
eventually
on the
realised
armor.
that true victory required taking the fight up to the heights. He recruited the toughest
Stink
warriors,
sense.
clad them in crude iron plate, and armed them with heavy blades, black powder guns, and primitive respirators. These were to be his first death guard, and eventually they defeated all but one of the overlords. The only one to remain was his father Nasser. When the Emperor finally arrived at the head of his great crusade, Mortarion was on the cusp of slaying this last most powerful warlord. However, although Mortarion climbed the highest peak, he couldn't endure the toxic air atop it, and the Emperor had to intervene, striking the final blow and saving Mortarion's life. This act, perceived as a casual dismissal of Mortarion's life struggle, planted the seeds of bitter enmity in the Primarch that would never really heal. Mortarion, as he had promised the Emperor, took command of his legion and joined the crusade, but he always resented that moment. Under Mortarion's direct command, the 14th Legion rapidly transformed. His new Death Guard specialized in infantry-heavy assaults and attritional warfare. Their doctrines were durable and efficient, demonstrating a remarkable talent for grassroots martial organization that earned them an impressive honor roll of victories during the Great Crusade. In fact, if you want to hear more about the 14th Legion of the Great Crusade, there's a video I did here about that era. Mortarion's gene seed made his sons exceptionally hardy, and his toxin-hardening regimens and the extreme environment of Barbarous further increased the durability. They were deployed into the most hazardous war zones using rad and phosphex weaponry and prescribed viral agents, which earned them something of a dark reputation. Mortarion, however, dismissed the distaste of his brother Primarchs, focusing on overthrowing the tyrants who preyed upon humanity, and took oblique pride in his son's rugged strength. However, despite all their achievements, these labours went largely unrecognised by the Imperium, and Mortarion felt close to very few of his brothers, most notably Horus. He particularly disagreed with the Emperor's use of psychic power, something he saw as witchcraft, akin to the powers wielded by the Barbaran overlords. And even though he had a spark of psychic ability himself, he kept it hidden and refused to develop it. But while both of those were valid points of contention, when betrayal came, the ultimate reason was still Mortarion's deep-seated bitterness and resentment towards the Emperor for the events of his discovery. The Death Guard eventually sided with Horus, culling their own numbers of loyalists on the fields of Isfahan III, and they fought in Horus's vanguard through the war, while the main forces deployed to the brunt of the fighting, where their famed resilience could best be used. The pivotal moment of their transformation, though, occurred during Horus's final advance towards Terra,
so
when
it's
the Death Guard fleet was becalmed in an impenetrable
You can see it if you randomly wake up during
destroyer
a point or
plague
something.
Swept through their ships, a pestilence that made their legendary resilience meaningless. It roiled in their guts, bloated their superhuman bodies into horrible, pustulant grotesques, corrupting them internally. They grew sicker, but because of their resilience, they couldn't die, their constitution becoming their worst enemy. And eventually, unable to endure further suffering of his sons, Mortarion offered his soul, and those of his sons, to the Immaterium in exchange for deliverance. When the Death Guard fleet emerged from the warp near Terra, their gleaming white and grey armour was gone, replaced by burst, shattered plating, scabbed with boils, putrescence and filth. Their weapons and war machines glowed with a baleful green luminescence and oozed pus. The last echoes of the Dusk Raiders had vanished, and in their place stood the Plague Marines, putrid travesties of their former selves, seething with Nurgle's hideous blessings. Nurgle had fully claimed the Death Guard, transforming them into his servants, body and soul, forevermore. By the 41st millennium, the Death Guard have become a traitor legion dedicated entirely to Nurgle. Nurgle, the great corruptor, is the chaos power born from feelings of despair. Depicted as an enormously rotund being of green, rotting flesh, hunched over a cauldron overflowing with brewing infections. He's hailed as the creator of every disease to plague mortal life, but is seen as a generous god by his followers. Nurgle's realm within the warp is known as the Garden of Nurgle, and it's a noxious hell where disease runs rampant, but his followers believe he bestows abundant gifts, making them immune to pain and suffering, while obviously mutating them hideously. The garden itself is a landscape of endless proliferation, containing swamps full of clinging, stinking sludges and foliage bursting into clouds of ooze that fertilize new growth and form new life. Life that merely wants to spread. The Death Guard are living plague vectors, their bodies bloated and their war engines rusted, but they still possess the same resilience and devastating firepower they always had. Their tread heralds the end of hope and the damnation of all who oppose them. Their touch withers flesh, metal, and faith, spreading corruption that swallows worlds up. They're a walking pestilence, a living plague of destruction and horror. Their transformed bodies scorn enemy blades and bullets, and they're utterly immune to real space diseases. and they unleash those very same weapons on their foes to create battlefields where only the servants of Nurgle can survive.
He's got
Amongst
the teeth
Death
on his
Guard
torso.
themselves, opinions on that change vary greatly.
Torso teeth.
Some are half-mad nihilists, others revel in their blessings, delighting in Nurgle's gifts. Some immediately embraced this new form, believing they were uniquely worthy of the god's patronage, while others, driven mad, sought to spread ruin until the galaxy was brought down to their level.
I like the little guy on the armor.
Endurance means that some saw that change as the ultimate defeat of their fortitude, while others saw it as the ultimate reinforcement of it. Unlike many of the other traitor legions, Mortarian's sons retreated from Terra in good order after Horus's rebellion collapsed, reaving as they went. Their stoicism and their ability to retain cohesion was exceptional, especially amongst the traitor legions, and that allowed many of them to survive the long journey back to the Eye of Terror. Upon retreating to the Eye with the other legions, Mortarion received his ultimate reward from Nurgle, a demon world to shape and rule as he saw fit. And this world became the Plague Planet, a dark reflection of ancient Barbarous.
Pretty buildings.
The real Barbarous, the one in the real space, had been destroyed by the Dark Angels in revenge for the heresy.
See.
The Plague Planet is a fume-wreathed hell
Plague
where disease
Planet.
runs rampant and barbarian tribes cling to a nightmarish existence amidst rotting forests and swamps. Worm-eaten mountains rise to pierce churning skies, their flanks roamed by plague-ridden abominations that prey on human flesh. The Death Guard maintain their fortresses atop those peaks, the bitter irony being that they've become the very despots they once fought against. The clouds of contagion that surround those slab-sided, rusting fortresses are lethal to all but the Death Guard, and the lower peaks are filled with hideous spectacles themselves, tri-lobed platforms where tribal champions battle to join the Legion, chained rings of biomechanical defense platforms, suppurating orbital docks, shrines to Grandfather Nurgle, as well as crawling snail-like fortresses, smog-spewing plague factories, and shield generators. The most significant fortresses are the 7 mountaintop keeps of the Plague Companies, each ruling over their domain in their own fashion. The greatest of those is the Black Manse, stretching between the 3 highest peaks and serving as Mortarion's personal keep. Mortarion was always interested in numerology, and his obsession with Nurgle's sacred number, 7, the integer infectum, influences every strata of his legion, from squad sizes to company organisation. The Death Guard remain one of the most ordered and coherent of the surviving traitor legions. Mortarion, a traditionalist, still bases their structure on the vast space marine
more
legions of
charts.
heresy.
Oh man.
Each of the 7 plague companies numbers thousands of warriors, vastly outnumbering loyalist space marine chapters. In theory, the plague companies are then broken down into 7 sepsis cohorts, though in reality only the 3rd and 7th company maintain the full 7. Each sepsis cohort is then divided into 2 equally formidable maledictums led by prominent champions of the Legion, often with a bitter rivalry.
Not more
between
charts,
them. Below
man.
that, colonies are 7 squad-strong forces of Plague Marines with different fighting styles, such as the mechanized infantry Reaper colonies or the close assault-themed Harvest colonies. The largest deployed fighting forces, known as Vectoriums, vary hugely in size and composition, but are generally drawn from maledictums or colonies of the same Plague Company, sometimes adopting unique colour schemes to mark them out. Each of the 7 Plague Companies has its own specialism and preferred Plague of Nurgle. The first Plague Company, the Harbingers, is ruled by Typhus, the host of the Destroyer Hive. A pivotal figure in the Legion, Typhus was once Calas Typhon, first captain of the Death Guard in the time of the heresy. He has somewhat conflicting origins. Some stories place him as a friend to the young Mortarion on Barbarous, while others place him as a Terran-born member of the Legion's Librarius before the discovery of Barbarous. Either way, Typhon had in many ways been more ambitious than his Primarch, hiding his own psychic powers for many years
second most
after
hated
Mortarion's
Space
abolition
Marine.
of the
Damn.
Librarius, and rising to the highest
Number
rank possible
2
during the
spot
Crusade. The
of
discovery
most hated.
of the dark powers of the warp fueled that ambition, and he was an early convert to the worship of chaos and a crucial figure in the Legion's damnation. He wholeheartedly embraced the Davinite warrior lodges that spread worship of the
Only
Dark
one I
Gods
hate
through
more
the
is
Death
there
Guard.
was
He manipulated events to
At
help
least they've got a
strand the
ranking
Legion
for
in the warp
for
and force
most
his
hated.
Primarch's hand. And
That's
when the
funny.
Destroyer Plague ravaged the fleet, Typhon absorbed its full power, becoming Typhus, the vessel for that corruption. This act empowered him as a favoured champion of Nurgle, but it didn't particularly enamour him to Mortarion, and the two have often fallen out since then, with Typhon convinced he knows the true will of Nurgle better even than his father, who was a reluctant convert at best. His plague company are one of the widest ranging. His ranks are infested with hundreds of zombie plague strains, including the Shamble Rot, the Groaning, and the Biter's Pox. They're known for spreading the Walking Pox, which transforms its victims into poxwalkers. Generally, the first company maintain a wide berth from the rest of the Legion. Typhus was disgusted by Mortarion's sentimental shaping of the plague planet to resemble Barbarous, leading him to depart at the head of a great sepsis cohort to spread.
So you fight in Dark Tide, is it really?
Mortarion generally tolerates that insubordination, allowing Typhus to maraud the Imperium at will, though Typhus has frequently found himself
video on the claim is an hour long, bro. I forgot.
In the greatest of Nurgle schemes.
You got
the
this
second
meta.
Plague company, the Inexorable, favour
We're on to
mechanized
Nurgle
assaults and boast
stuff right
huge
now.
formations of lumbering, rusted battle tanks. Their warriors bear the Ferric Blight, a crawling rust that infests armour and vehicles and swiftly corrodes.
That's a really cool
the third
shoulder
plague
plate.
Company, Mortarion's Anvil, are attrition warriors. They excel at digging in and forcing their enemy to break themselves against their defences, a tactic reminiscent of the old Dusk Raiders. They carry the Gloaming Bloat, a plague of fever sweats that slicks their armour and causes them to speak in wet gurgles. Noxious Blightbringers are particularly prevalent in their ranks, using their horns of misery to wear down enemy morale and bolster the company's vigour. The fourth plague company, the Wretched, are ruled over by the Eater of Lives,
when you do someday.
That favours sorcerers and summonation. Its legionaries carry the Eater Plague, also known as Drizzle Flesh, Chewer, and the Endless Gift. They're notable for the very high respect given to psychers within their ranks, and sorcerers are often insisted upon to lead in place of Death Guard lords due to their ability to wield the power of the warp. The fifth plague company are known as the Poxmongers. They make great use of diseased demon engines, and they're entirely infected with the Sanguous Flux, which causes endless half-clotted bleeding and leaves foul red-black trails wherever they go. The sixth plague company, the Ferrymen, sometimes known as the Brethren of the Fly, are masters of void combat. They garrison the plague fleets, and they specialise in acquiring new ships for the Armada. They have a particularly large number of Terminator armored warriors,
telling them all, of course,
right? The Droning, and their bodies seethe with
the very last one in the hour-long video.
The seventh plague company are Mortarion's chosen sons. Plague
Endless
brewers
gifts of
and
Nurgle.
dark
Seems that
alchemists.
way.
They're blessed by Nurgle with the Crawling Pustulence, also known as Boil Blight, Lump and Splatter, or Nurgle's Fruit. Their stronghold is, of course, the Black Manse. The Death Guard still retain a massive fleet from their days as a legion, bolstered by seized and corrupted vessels taken in the years since.
That fleet's still so cool.
These fleets are vital to Mortarion's sons, serving as the primary vector for spreading Nurgle's
Detailed
blessings
though, so
across the
worth it.
galaxy.
That's good.
The fleets consist of ancient Heresy-era battleships, stolen Imperial warships, and even some space hulks gathered from the warp, and the sixth plague company is responsible for mastering and garrisoning them. As these craft traverse the Immaterium, they fill with thick clouds of revolting fat-bodied flies that hatch from the walls and bulkheads. When the Death Guard invade enemy worlds or board enemy spacecraft, these fly swarms accompany them, spreading their infection. Lost or abandoned plague fleet ships are said to eventually return to the plague planet as derelicts, either by Nurgle's will or due to their corrupted machine spirits being cursed to obey the Primarch. While the Death Guard Legion maintains a coherent structure, in reality it's broken up into thousands of those Vectoriums across the galactic war zones. These warbands, varying massively in size, often adopt unique colour schemes based on their leader or their manifested plagues. Vectoriums can be drawn from the same company or be more disparate.
I like the darker green. The left
like
one's
the Painted
nicer.
Suns, Pallid Hand, or Putrid Choir are named for their specific
Putrid
tactics or
Choir,
favourite
what a
plague.
good ass
Others,
name.
Like the Gloomy Lords or Apostles of Contagion have specific
Mouldering
methods
Claw,
of warfare. There are also splinter warbands like the Favoured Sons, Poisoned Chalice, and Rotworm Brotherhood, who operate completely independently of Mortarion's rule, pursuing their own goals within Nurgle's service. That independence and variety means that Death Guard markings and colour schemes can be as varied as the moulds and spores they spread. Before their damnation, their armour was deliberately kept in a dull ceramite off-white with a green trim, often left uncleaned and only repaired when necessary. Purely cosmetic maintenance was considered weak. Since their dedication to Nurgle, their armour sports the colours of disease and decay, usually a brownish leprous green with copper or brass trim, though it's
the shoulder is so
cool.
This
is a colour scheme per se.
Hello, Nurgle here. Would you like spacey space color, space blue,
panoply, vast swathes of the Legion still march in those same hues.
Space polio or space leprosy.
The skull and halo was despoiled upon their full chaos, replaced by the sigils of Nurgle. The most prevalent markings include the trilobed rune of Nurgle and its variant, the debased Death Guard triple skull design, and the sacred symbol of the fly, often a segmented fly, prominently
They're
displayed
both cool, but I think I like the right one the
plague
best.
god. Additionally, their appearance is a marking in itself. Their bodies are often horrifically decayed, with skull-like masses of festering flesh and
spooky
bows punctured by phlegm-rattling tubes.
It's cool,
corroded armor plates and dripping pus and slime are standard. They also prominently display arrays of blight grenades at their belts, from blunt iron stick bombs to weaponized rotting heads that detonate to release choking clouds of spores. In combat, the Death Guard are, as they ever have been, Mortarian's perfect infantry.
Big angry guys are more my
warriors,
I see.
astute and very well equipped.
He's got the needle of the plague.
Enhanced by Nurgle's gifts, makes them unnaturally hard to kill and immune to pain or debilitation from wounds. Their equipment, though rusted, is paradoxically tougher due to warp saturation, and they prefer short-ranged firefights where their relentlessness provides maximum advantage, reveling in the festering injuries they inflict while shrugging off enemy fire. They're supported by dark sorcery, noisome demon engines, and sickeningly destructive toxic weapons. In fact, for a traitor legion, they also retain a surprising amount of their old potency, with multiple command roles and officer ranks, and war machines that have been preserved and in fact improved upon since the days of the heresy. The majority of the legion are deployed as plague marines, the mainstay of both the Death Guard and the various other Astartes chapters who have fallen to Nurgle
really cool.
in the years since. Plague marine numbers have swollen over the millennia
your average
due to
Yu-Gi-Oh tournament
perpetual aggressive recruitment, particularly from those primitive tribes on the plague planet itself, and also because of their unnatural hardiness. They're very hard to kill.
Next time I'm talking about like a next time I'm talking about like a convention or something like that. I'm just gonna call him the Death Guard has arrived.
With its focus on infantry assault, the Legion has always employed a strong core of Terminator armoured warriors, and this persists into the 41st millennium.
He's just mouth.
Originally the first company of the Legion, the Blight Lord Terminators are a relentless, unstoppable shock troop formation that are now spread across the various Vectoriums. They're common in Vectoriums that focus on breacher assaults, boarding actions and teleport strikes, and they often serve as the elite garrisons on Plague Fleet ships. And alongside those, Death Shroud Terminators are Mortarian's hand-picked elite bodyguards. They tower over their enemies, wielding huge battle scythes called Man Reapers, once a common
He's got the power scythe too!
Again, though they were once a much smaller unit sworn directly to Mortarian,
I don't know if this is specifically the power. Well, it's not like a chain scythe, which we saw earlier.
Their roles shifted after Mortarian's demonhood.
Alexei,
now,
thank you for
also act as his representatives. Forming honor guards for Death Guard lords and other champions. In this role, they rarely speak, embodying the faceless, wordless onset of inescapable death and a grim reminder of the hand of the Prime.
Their armor is
the
so
commanders
neat.
And lords of the Death Guard have often held their posts since the days of the heresy, but new legionnaires can attain rank through great deeds of destruction, corruption, or endurance. To help guide them in their service, Mortarian created Mantles of Corruption, dark gifts from Nurgle, to ensure that the officer corps tactics integrate with the Legion's pragmatic style. Those with the Mantle of Contagion are the most aggressive and belligerent. They lumber into battle in filth-smeared Terminator armor, wielding huge axes or scythes. These lords prefer direct strategies, confident in their followers' ability to absorb
such a weird weapon, but it's cool.
By comparison,
they like
those
the
with
spinny
the
blades on it.
Favour the spreading of airborne miasmas so that they can attritionally erode the enemy. They often appear as glowing lenses amidst a foul, green fog.
How does bro see
those
like
with
this?
the mantle of
Like they got
virulence
the
are the masters of
holes
mass
there, but this
bombardment. They hammer
whole thing
enemies
is in
with
the
heavy
way.
firepower, decimating
How does
ranks
bro
like a lethal
see?
infection. Those are the three most common mantles donned by Exalted Death Guard, though other do exist, including...
The 4 Chaos God's followers are the 7-Eleven crackheads, the Zeech, Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament goer, Nurgle, Right Bros, Korn, and Ozzy Osbourne, X69 for Slanesh. That's insane. I don't know if he touched on it, but it's kind of funny that reason they use scythes is because Mortarion rebelled against his world's oppressors. He and the people he fought with used garden tools, and he just picked a scythe. Oh, that's so neat. Yeah. Just happened to pick a scythe using the garden tool. Hell yeah. That's really cool. Chaos Emeralds, you know what Bisrock does to your face. Damn. Not the piss rock.
The mantle of parasitism,
Ewy.
of withering, and of flux, and there are rumours of a mantle that transforms its bearer into pure entropy. Below those lords and champions of the Vectoriums are a number of support officers. In fact, a massive number of support officers. Plague surgeons were once legion apothecaries, transformed by their damnation into sinister hooded figures that drift through battle like ghoulish spectres. With little need for conventional medicine due to
The little
the
guy on the
unnatural
shoulder.
resilience, plague surgeons instead tend to the well-being of the diseases within their brothers' rotting bodies. Their touch is horrifically infectious, and their every breath teems with spores and demonic energy. They use
these guys are cool.
Malthusium-like instruments with booster vials and stimulants to imbue Nurgle's servants with new strength while worsening the enemy's sickness. One of their duties is gene seed theft. They gather mutated progenoids from fallen Death Guard and take macabre glee in
Dragon Ball,
ripping
you
them
can't
from
change my
dead and
mind,
dying
damn.
loyalists, using some for new Death Guard recruits
Hi,
and
Sticks.
the rest for some
Welcome back.
unspeakable experiments.
Lizard,
Talion are the preachers of Nurgle's sevenfold doctrine, part priest, part demigod, metaphysical scribe and quartermaster. They carry heavy tomes and reams of parchment covered in crabbed tallies, and they count woes on the battlefield. Shells expended, wounds inflicted, flies in the air, always strangely tallying the unholy number 7 or multiples of it. Their sonorous voices boom through huge speakers,
he's counting
channeling
something
Nurgle's
too.
sacred number to beseech more blessings. And on a similar note, the warped tolling of monstrous bells announces the arrival of a different officer class,
there's
the
a lot of
noxious
bells.
Blightbringers. These are heralds
Wonder
for the
why.
Legion, carrying rusted toxins of misery, hell-forged bells that ring through reality and the warp, forged in the Peel Yard on the Plague Planet from the screams of dying psychers. Elsewhere, foul Blightspawn arise from Plague Marines who delight in watching their victims suffer. Their malignant cruelty manifests as grotesque physical degeneration, leading to translucent bulging flesh.
He's
eyes
got like
that
the
dribble like
hose
black
of
slime,
Icky.
and puckered mouths. A stench
So
seeps
get
from
ready
them that
for
is
work.
so
Okay,
smelly,
Michael.
even other Plague
Hopefully it
Marines
goes
recoil.
back quickly today.
Legionnaires that are tempted
you know.
towards the path of the Blightspawn
We'll see.
are sent to the disease factories
Good
of the
luck,
Plague Planet,
soldier.
where concoctions are forcibly driven into their
Death
guts,
Guard
and
stench and
incubators
decay
are
is so
sutured to their
brutal. It's
armor,
been known to
learning
melt people
from
alive just by
ancient
being next to someone.
festering
Oh
elders who
wow.
have rooted themselves into the planet
That's so neat.
like giant fungi. Working alongside those, biologist putrefiers play a vital
Straight up
role
melt
as they
somebody by
refine
being
the
close.
diseased slurry brewed up by the Blightspawn
This
to its
guy's
utmost potency
whole
and
get up
use
is
it to
pretty
create
cool.
the
I like
blight
the
grenades used across the Legion.
this
They
the
possess a
plague
unique
needle
mutation,
gun.
lidless, milky
And his weird
oculodes,
schnoz needle.
cyst-like eyes beneath their flesh that can
Goodbye,
penetrate
noodle.
armor,
Miss
flesh,
you
and
anything?
bone to perceive
Nerd.
every nuance of an infection's spread. And then finally, malignant
crazy.
plague casters are potent Death Guard sorcerers,
You
warped
got
rotted
this.
from skin to innards.
Hell
They fill
yeah.
the air with billowing filth, drawing
Baka.
noxious vapours and psychic energy from Nurgle's garden with every inhalation, and then blowing them
They
out
also
in
use funny
phlegm-thick
outlawed
clouds
chemical
that can
weapons
rot a
even the
man to bone.
Imperium won't use.
Mortarion
Ooh.
and many of his champions still view
Hell yeah.
psychers with distaste, but this distaste has modified over the
It's good
millennia, and they
shit.
now recognise their utility, at least as living weapons. Only within the the fourth plague company, under the
buggies.
Eater of Lives, are these psychers highly valued or even allowed to lead. The Death Guard have always focused on their infantry, but their forces still include the range of ancient Astartes armour common across the traitor legions, though the vehicles of the Death Guard are considerably more rusted and corroded.
The eyes and things sticking out here and the
But
extra
as well
teeth.
as this, their embrace of warp technology has led to a number of unique
She's
vehicles
convinced
and
me,
demon
chat,
engines.
trust.
Plague burst
I'm
crawlers
sure I'll
are
hear from
lumbering,
ya.
formidable siege tanks
I usually
designed
do.
by Mortarion himself, and bearing a number of similarities to the
He's
ancient
never gone for
Legion
long.
Arbitor bombard. Their plague burst mortars have a terrifying range and parabolic fire arcs, launching shells that combine high radius explosives with clouds of corrosive spores. Bloat drones and blight drones are airborne demon engines that labour through the air on buzzing turbines like armoured plague flies. Their cases overflow with flabby demon flesh, and they're highly durable, particularly the largest ones, the greater blight drones. And again, these seem to be a corruption of an ancient heresy-era technology. Some, with particularly aggressive demons inside, are fitted with flesh mowers, heavy cylinders of rusted iron blades. And then, resembling the very lightest of those drones, mephitic blight haulers move on 3 articulated track units, spewing gases and fumes.
Even the teeths are
churned up
metal.
from the battlefield, creating
They
a
included
rolling
the teeths
fog
here,
that
and they're
covers
metal.
the Legion's advance. And as well as that durable block of infantry and armour, the Legion is frequently accompanied into battle by those who have succumbed to Nurgle's disease. Cultists who turn to the Lord of Disease when faced with their own mortality, or the plague zombies of the walking pox, transformed into unliving pox walkers. Most common in the First Plague Company, these serve as cannon fodder and terror troops, capable of overrunning enemy lines despite being relatively clumsy and slow. And then once the tally starts to be counted, the demonic foot soldiers of Nurgle are likely to appear. Plague bearers are created when victims of Nurgle's rot, a perfect, incurable, and slowly debilitating physical plague, are reborn in Nurgle's realm after death. They're pestilential and bloated, riddled with disease, and obsessively count off new infections and symptoms, though they often lose count in combat. And once plague bearers have manifested to the battlefield, it's only a matter of time before even more disgusting Nurgle demons appear, and the planet is damned. The Death Guard have waged countless campaigns throughout the millennia,
Good old
constantly
rot
spreading
flies.
Nurgle's plagues across the galaxy. The records of those are far too long to recite here, but the era Indomitus has seen their plague companies and Vectoriums spread with renewed vigour. During the 13th Black Crusade, the Death Guard Legion deployed in its entirety to Cadia as part of the largest mobilization of Chaos forces since the Horus Heresy. When Abaddon's use of a shattered Blackstone fortress destroyed Cadia's pylons and caused the spread of the Great Rift, many of Nurgle's servants saw their power wax with the influx of corrupting energy, and the plague fleets immediately sallied forth, while the Imperium experienced a phenomenon called the Blackness, the lack of any ability to see into the void or to contact other worlds. During this time, one of the Legion's first targets was on the Eastern Fringe. As the blackness continued, chaos cults
for a
rose,
couple
and a
hundred
number of
years,
worlds,
and you're
the
kept
galactic
alive
north of
somehow.
the Ultramarines' home realm, Ultramar.
Weird.
The cults rose to such heights that a demonic infestation broke out across the
Hundreds
whole
of
region,
years, too.
and Mortarion
Just
took
in
advantage
stomach
of this,
acid.
turning the affected systems into a region of space known as the Scourge Stars, a fortress of chaos power that grew over the next century until the Demon Primarch was able to use this new realm as a staging post for an invasion of Ultramar. Near the end of the first phase of the Imperium's Indomitus Crusade, this invasion began, and the Lord Commander of the Imperium, Robute Guilliman, became bogged down in a grinding war of attrition in his own realm. Sepsis cohorts from every plague company, particularly from the 2nd, 3rd and 7th, were deployed alongside waves of poxwalkers and hordes of demons and steadily pushed Imperial forces back on Ajax, Espandor and Connor until a mass deployment of Primaris Marines halted the advance.
Planets.
Ajax was especially badly affected. Once known as the Garden of Ultramar, the planet was devastated by the invasion and by Mortarion's use of the world as his home base. The Imperium were eventually victorious, helped by strife and conflict on the side of the Chaos Powers, but in the wake of the conflict, Mortarion detonated virus bombs over Ajax during his retreat, and the planet is now an infected death world. And while those plague wars raged, other Vectoriums continued to spread across the galaxy.
Oh.
Death Guard fleets invaded Tau space through the Startide Nexus, their vast numbers overwhelming Tau defenses in the Nemyar Atoll, and Death Guard forces were active during the initial phases of the war in Vigilus in the Nakman Gauntlet, infiltrating its
Squiggly
beleaguered
little
hives.
tentacles in
And at the
his
same
abdomen.
time, Typhus, after being forced to
Oh,
actually
there's the
help
guy
Mortarion
again.
during the Plague Wars, eventually led his forces on raids against the Iron Hands on Medusa. Throughout the galaxy, the forces of Nurgle plod
Cute
onwards, their
diamonds.
Vectoriums and Sepsis cohorts and plague companies
Seems a
riding
pretty,
out to share the
hated
bounty of
guy.
Nurgle with the as yet unenlightened species of the galaxy, a testament to the enduring and devastating influence of the ruinous powers. They embody the inevitability of 40k, relentlessly advancing, spreading corruption and grinding
so
down
good.
the opposition through sheer resilience and overwhelming
Got 'em.
contagion. And this makes them quite an interesting faction. Unlike the desperate fight for survival of the Imperium, the
Oh,
relentless
yeah.
destruction of the Orcs, or the nihilistic pursuit of power that other Chaos Legions might embody, the Death Guard represent a bleak yet joyful acceptance of entropy and their own decay.
Basically
They
why the
see
Death Guard
Nurgle's plagues
exists.
not as
Yeah,
a
oh,
curse,
there
but as
is.
bounteous gifts and blessings,
Wow.
a natural and ultimately benevolent process of existence, something almost
So cool,
jolly
but it's
to
so
spread
strange.
across the galaxy. It's very indicative of 40k's
Tyrion hates
sense
the
of
Imperium,
humor,
but don't
the
confuse that
faction
with
is
a love
so
for Nurgle.
incredibly gruesome and
Fair.
nihilistic is also one of the most humorous. So praise be to Grandfather Nurgle, plagues
Grandpapa
for the
Nurgle.
plague god.
Yay!
Thanks for watching.
Hell
And if you'd
yeah.
like more info on the factions of
Nurgle
Warhammer
stuff
40k,
is
there's
neat.
probably another video popping up there to the right. But in the meantime,
Yes, Arbitor. I forgot to like the other one. My bad, original gangster. I'll fix that. There we go. I fixed it. Oopsie. There. All saved. Yeah. So that was our Lorehammer time. I'm gonna roll over the YouTube VOD real quick so that stays separated as going over lore. Before I switch to Galaxy. Yes, right before we switch to Mario Galaxy. Oh, what the hell? Oh, sorry, YouTube side. I didn't see ya. I had the wrong thing up. My bad, original gangsters. Oops. Oh, you can see that. Sorry. My bad. Okay, let's turn that off. Let's turn that off. Oopsie. I had the wrong chat up this whole time for YouTube. I'm sorry. Damn. I will type that in real quick. I had the wrong live chat opt out. Oh, that's so sad. There we go. I miscall this. There we go. Sheesh. My bad, YouTube side. I had the wrong chat pulled up and I had no idea. Oh, that sucks. Whack. Professional streamer, by the way. Damn. In the grim dark of the far future, there is only Mario. Hi Chris, how you doing? Welcome back. Yeah, we're gonna do Super Mario Galaxy. I'm just rolling over the VOD for YouTube real quick. Okay. YouTube, I'll see you on the Mario Galaxy one. Lorehammer time over. My mistake, original gangsters. I apologize. Jeez. Ay, ay. So good at what I do. Okay, we're gonna try it this way. This is gonna be an experiment. Oh, I also need to do this. There we go. Yeah, this is gonna be an experiment. So we're gonna hope that it works. We're gonna see. We're gonna see. I think if I just do this. Bye, YouTube side. We're switching over to Mario Galaxy. Rolling over the VOD.